Tell me when the timer starts, and then just cut that bit out. Okay. Hello and welcome back to the channel. I hope you are doing well. This is your Manchester United versus Luton Town match reaction. Of course, Manchester United clutching it up 3-0 as you'd expect. It wasn't business as usual, I must say, until the substitutes came on. Oli inevitably waiting till the last 10 minutes. If the world was in a crisis, this guy would wait till the last 10 seconds to get into a secret bunker. But anyways, we're not here to talk about... Yeah, it would be. We're not here to talk about that, we're just here to break down the game, our thoughts on the game, player ratings. So do hit that like button and do consider subscribing if you are new. Gentlemen, what are your thoughts on the game, man? Was it a ball fest for you until the last 10 minutes, like everybody else? Well, at least from my side.
Mm-hmm.
Great, so we can start with you.
Oh, no, I thought it was a good game. Like, I don't think Luton were horrible. I think they gave a decent showing of themselves, but they weren't amazing. Yeah. But from our side, I think we played really well. I think defensively, we started very shaky, but we got better. We got warm and we got more into the game. But I think in terms of our offensive play, I think we're really good. I think the midfield was really good, really in control. I really enjoyed watching them. And yeah, in the final third, in the 18 area, I think there was nice interchangeability, but like, I feel like that final pass wasn't getting there and we weren't getting behind the Luton defense enough. But overall, I think it was decent showing.
Yeah, man. And what did you make of the way? And Clay will get to you in a bit. But what did you make of the way they set up? Was there anything, different about the way they set up tactically? Anything worth noting, or was it just a normal side trying to break United down and failing? Because I look at the match stats and they only had 2 shots on target. They had 10 overall. Only 2 of them on target. Did you think they looked threatening at all?
They had chances here and there. Really, to be completely honest, I wasn't paying much attention about how they were setting up. I don't even know if they played 2 strikers or they played 3 up front. I don't even know. But in terms of how we set up, I think it was the usual. I think Fred was playing a box-to-box role, kind of like Pogba, but just helping out a little bit more on the defense side. And I think in terms of the frontline players, I think there's a lot of interchangeability and movement, which worked in our favor. So, yeah, a good showing from us.
Yeah, and Claire, what were your thoughts of the game, man?
So I think we had a decent showing. I think we should have done a lot better at the end of the day. We were versing a championship. If I could speak, we were versing a championship side at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We should be doing a lot better. Our second team should not be struggling for a win against a championship. Why can't I say that word today? I don't know.
Apparently, it was the second team as well. Apparently, the word is out there in the streets. That they will play in the second team as well.
That's what reflects it, which is a bit ridiculous.
I feel like we should have done a lot better, and especially in that final third. I think Igalo was very quiet at the end of the day as well. I think Dean Henderson looked really good, though. When he had to step up, he stepped up well. And defensively, we were a bit questionable. We were a bit open at times. Somehow, Luton Town pried us open just as well as Crystal Palace could. Luckily, they didn't have the finishing at the end of it. But I do think it was a decent show. I think we could have done a lot better, though, especially with the players on the pitch. When you look at the likes of Fred, Matic, Mata, Lingard, you think they should outclass any championship side
as well.
9 out of 10 days.
Yeah.
I don't think that was good enough at the end of the day for a Man United second team, considering we have to compete with the likes of everyone in the Champions League with some of that second league. It's just really tough to see us succeeding with the depth, which we always have known is an issue at the end of the day. It just shows it even more today.
And it kind of seemed like...
Yeah, you can go, sorry.
It kind of seemed like we're lacking a finisher up front, like a vocal point.
Little bit.
It seemed like Igalo wasn't that. He was struggling to do that. So Mata and Lingard, they were all very technical and trying to make the chances, but there was no one finishing them off. So that didn't work in our favor.
Yeah, and I think Lingard actually played pretty solidly today. I think Lingard made a case for himself to actually step up ahead of someone like Dan James. And I just want to talk a bit, before we get to the attack. I think in terms of defense, what do you make of Brandon Williams as a player at the moment? Because he struggled today. I think there was a mistake which almost led to a goal. And I was thinking in the Premier League, 9 times out of 10, you're 1-0 down because of that mistake that Brandon Williams made. I don't know if he tried to pass it across or what he was trying to do. but he gave the ball away, and it almost led to a chance. What do you think of that, man?
Yeah, no, I feel like he's been sluggish. It's weird because when he first came into the scene, he looked perfect, like offensively, defensively, but like we just don't see that anymore, and it's very strange. But you've said in time and time again he's young, so we should have expected this from him. But yeah, I've heard people, especially Shinny, say maybe he'd be more comfortable on the other side where Wan-Bissaka plays. I don't know. I haven't seen him play there, but recently he does look a little bit uncomfortable.
Look, I definitely don't think that's just the solution. I definitely don't think the reason why Brandon Williams is out of form now is because he's playing out of position. Because when he was in form, he was playing in position, right? I've got no doubt that he'll be better on the right-hand side because he's so right-footed, right? But I think the big problem with Brandon Williams is what I keep saying. You know, it's almost becoming a cliche now. And I apologize to anyone who's heard me say this a million times, but good players have great seasons sometimes, and great players have great seasons all the time or consistently. And so I think people get so caught up in one season wonders, man. Like Williams did play well, but that's my point exactly. Like you can't just go off 6 months. You can't just go off 12 months. It's okay to be positive. It's okay to be reactionary. That's our job as football fans. You know, we're not sitting in a studio getting fed stuff through a mic. So we're always going to be emotional at the end of the day. But I think people they jumped the gun with Williams, and I was afraid this would happen. And so defensively, it's a bit worrying. Aaron Wan-Bissaka was a bit anonymous today as well. So it will be interesting, man. Shall we get into the play ratings then? Dean Henderson out of 10. Brett, we'll start with you first.
No, I was going to give him a 6.5. When I was watching the first half and all, I thought he was solid, but he didn't have much to do. So I was like, 6.5 is a fitting rating, but he made that save. And I have to bump it up to a 7. And yeah, no, he looks solid. He looks like a really good keeper. Well, we've known this, but
yeah.
I agree as well. I think Dean Henderson deserves a 7. I think he is coming up to De Gea and just going, "Hey, I'm here, guys. Don't forget about me here." I think he could make his case if De Gea falls off soon. Not immediately, of course, but yeah.
That's the problem, though. You know, I would like to see Manchester United put their foot down and say that you're going to play in cup games, you're going to play in D games. Done. Because what happens in a situation where, okay, Henderson plays well, gets a clean sheet, makes 4 or 5 saves in a match. De Gea fumbles on the weekend. Henderson plays in the next league game. He also fumbles. De Gea plays well in the league game. Now, what are you doing? Are you switching keepers every week based on who's playing well?
Yeah.
And that's the weird thing, right? Like Gary Neville pointed this out. I think it was at the time of this video going up, probably 24 hours ago. Gary Neville said this, like, it's not a good idea. Forget the wages. Forget the fact that Romero's still at the club. Fundamentally, to have 2 goalkeepers who are really, really good, one who's probably still world-class, arguably, and probably still at least at the bare minimum in the top 15 in the world at the moment, and the other one who's a keeper who's young and up and coming and definitely has the potential to push to that ceiling, who do you pick? And I just think Manchester United have got to put their foot down and say, hey, Henderson, you're going to play in the Champions League, you're going to play in the Carabao Cup. De Gea, you're going to play in the FA Cup. Should we still be in the Carabao Cup later on? And, you know, Henderson has these games, and you're going to play in the league. And if we get knocked out of the Carabao Cup early, then Henderson plays in the FA Cup to compensate for the lack of game time. You know,
and I've always said I'd like to see it being done like that, but
like
it's weird. It's weird because I have a feeling they're not going to do it like that because I feel like De Gea will want to play Champions League as well. I think they're going to do that thing where they keep switching, which it's unorthodox. And everything points to it not being a good idea. But I don't know. Let's just hope it works out.
Yeah. We'll just have to wait and see, man. We'll just have to see.
At the end of the day, I like to go back to what me and Shoni were talking about a lot in the preseason with this situation. I genuinely do think that if De Gea has a run of very, very bad form, we make the switch and we stick with Henderson throughout the season. I feel like that's probably the best course of action to take for us, that we stick with one keeper no matter what happens. So even if Henderson's form drops, we still back him nonetheless, if he earns that first team shirt, that is, of course. But that obviously depends on him being first team.
Yeah, and I understand that. I respect your opinion. The only problem I have with that is it's almost a double standard. You're saying if Henderson fumbles, it's okay. We're going to keep him in the team for the rest of the season. Why not treat De Gea with the same level of respect, considering he almost is on the verge of becoming a club legend, whereas Henderson had one good season at Sheffield. You know, maybe I'm just seeing it the wrong way. Maybe because Henderson is a young player and has the potential to take that shirt away from De Gea, he should be given more faith. But I don't know. The way I see it, and this is just me probably being old school, I think De Gea is the more senior player. De Gea has earned his spot in that team. Does that mean he's exempt from being dropped? No. But I just think if you're going to stick with one keeper anyways, why not stick with the one who's on 350 grand per week and has been here for nearly 10 years, you know? But it's down to opinion. You know, I like I've always said, whether it's Henderson or De Gea, I'm not going to be grumpy, you know, as long as one of the season.
In terms of 2 games, they look like to be motivating each other. I know De Gea considered 3 goals, but then he couldn't do anything about those goals. Yeah, he played well. Yeah. But let's just hope going forward it doesn't get toxic.
Yeah, certainly, man.
That's what we need to avoid.
Yeah, moving along then to anonymous Wan-Bissaka out of 10.
Bang average. Like, he did nothing special. Going forward, he's okay. I almost said crap. Let me not use that word. Going forward, he's bad.
It's just unnatural. It's a very unnatural player going forward.
So
it is what it is.
We can't express this any further. But defensively, he looks sluggish. He's not that Wan-Bissaka who's on it and is making those amazing tackles. So I don't know. Maybe more game time. I don't know. But he does look very sluggish. So I'm gonna give him a 6.
I think less game time, man. I think he's been running to the ground. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I definitely think he needs to be playing a lot more games in the league alone and let someone else delegate his role in cup games. Let Dallo come. Let anyone else. Literally, we have a lot of right backs that are just being unused at this club at the end of the day. And just anybody can come through. Fosu, your preference at the end of the day. And he needs a break. He definitely does, but this wasn't exactly a good showing from him. I think he looked good as soon as Greenwood came on. I think they linked up very well at the end of the game. Until that point, he was very anonymous, and I think just a lackluster, very average 6 for him.
I saw him make a tackle after Greenwood came on. I was like, oh, he can still tackle.
Yeah, as soon as Greenwood came on, he switched on. I don't know what it was. He just looked better going forward. He linked the play a lot better, even looked more solid. It is very strange how that just partnership can just set him on lights a little bit.
Yeah. Look, I think it's definitely interesting, right? Like you've got this argument about right backs, like left back, people saying we don't have depth in left back and that we need a backup behind Shaw. And I'm looking at that right back position and I'm going, hello, you know, like we need players there. And I'm not saying Wan-Bissaka isn't good enough. I think Wan-Bissaka is definitely good enough. But as we've seen in the last 3 months, he's not exactly somebody who's perfect and has good games all the time, number one. Number two, he can't play every game. Like, Ollie needs to learn this. And I think Ollie's in a difficult situation because who do you play? Diego Dalot at this point is probably the ghost of a club legend roaming the locker rooms and just spooking people because he's clearly, where is he? Where is he? Is he injured? Yeah. Is he in preseason training? Is he with family? Where is he? What's happening with Dalot? I haven't heard an update or question, for that matter, asked about Diego Dalot since probably 6 years ago. And the last time I remember a question being asked in the press conference, the update was that he was injured, and people were speculating whether or not he really was, or whether or not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was protecting him. So there's these weird conspiracy theories around this player who I personally haven't even seen play. So my opinion of Dalot is it's non-applicable. I can't formulate an opinion of him because, number one, I've never seen him play, and number two, I don't know what the hell's happening with him. At least with Tanzania, I can say, okay, this guy clearly has an injury problem. I don't know what's happening with Dalot. You know,
he's too busy being Bruno's welcoming buddy.
Yeah, I mean, at this rate, he could probably be a Fortnite player like Dembele over at Barcelona. But anyways, so it's just a weird one. It's a weird one. At least we have Williams behind Shaw. And I know what I'm getting with Williams. I don't know what I'm getting with Fosu-Mensah and Dalot. But anyways, just my opinion. Bailey out of 10.
Look, I feel like every time Bailey plays well, I go on a rant. So when I try, I'll try and limit that. I think he played well. I think he played really well.
Like, definitely.
First few moments, he looked a little bit edgy, but then he got into it. And with him, comparing him to Lindelof on the weekend, and I know it was Lindelof's first game, the fitness thing, so I don't want to be too harsh on Lindelof, but Bailly is more of a problem solver. And I feel like we don't get that in Lindelof and Maguire. When people come at them, it's a lot of backtracking and indecisiveness. Bailly is decisive. He makes a decision, he solves the problem. And I really like that about him. Plus, he's quick. And yeah, I feel like we really need that. So yeah, it's up to you guys what you think, but I've been advocating for Bayern Maguire, and I really want to see that. And the only problem with him, it's the injury thing, and it's a real buzzkill because I feel like he'd be a really good asset if he wasn't so injury prone. And again, the risk with Bailly is that he could always cause a penalty. But I think it's because he's willing to take that risk that Lindelof and Maguire are not willing to. So, yeah, really good game. I'm going to give him a 7.
I mean, Lindelof and Maguire aren't quick enough to take the risk, even if they wanted to. So,
That's true.
The guys are already gone by the time they get there.
Yeah.
What did you think of him, Clay?
I think Bailly did definitely have a really good game. No question about that. I think he was very strong in the tackles. He was very decisive in the moments when we needed him to be. But you could also tell his aggression is exceptionally high, and you can see that every single game he plays, he just wants to charge in at the end of the day. That is something we need in a lot of situations. We can't always be timid and just sit back. Sometimes we need that person just to take the ball off of him and just move it. Sometimes it's exactly what we needed, and we needed it tonight for sure. So I can definitely see a case for Bailly being advocated as a partnership with Maguire. And overall, I just think he had a really good game today. So I think I'll give him a 7 as well.
Look, I think if he can lower his percentage of head injuries and stay out of the recovery room, I'm all for Eric Bailly playing, because I personally do like an aggressive defender. Everyone who knows me personally, or maybe not everyone, but if you know me well enough, you should know that Sergio Ramos is one of my favorite defenders for that reason, because even though he's a red card waiting to happen, I love that. I love that character. I love a player who imposes his personality on the game. That's why Roy Keane's one of my favorite club legends. Maybe not because of all the BS he talks on Sky, but when he was a player, he certainly was a polarizing figure in that Manchester United dressing room. And I love that. So, Eric Bailly, if you can stay fit, my mans, and if I know you're a talented baller, the question has never been about your skill or your talent as a footballer. It's about whether or not you can stay consistent. And if you can, I'm all for you, bro. Get in there. Anyways,
sometimes you wonder how Pepe and Ramos ever played together. Because it just seems like a red card waiting to happen.
That's calamity. I think Pepe made Ramos look sane. I did not know how crazy Ramos was until Pepe left that team, and I was like, okay, next to Varane, this guy looks like a psycho. How the hell did he and Pepe play together? But when Pepe was there, it looked normal. It's only in hindsight that you look back and you're like, wow. But anyways, I digress. Maguire, out of 10. Captain England. Captain, I don't rest. Captain, I play every game.
Like he just looks awful. And it looks like every time he makes a mistake, it's the end of the world. Like, he doesn't look okay. And he made a lot of mistakes, especially in the first half. He got better in the second half, but he made a lot of mistakes in the first half. And he won the headers in the air, but like, we know about that now. So please,
but then, can I just interject about this whole Maguire's good in the air thing? When was the last time this guy actually scored a header in the offensive team's box?
I was about to go there.
He needs to, so 6 months into our season, last season, I was like, this guy, I may have not said it on the show, but I was thinking in my head, this guy needs to start scoring headers. Like, if we paid an extra 20 mil or extra 10 mil just for his offensive abilities in the air, surely he needs to start scoring. Now I'm kind of writing him off, because I'm like, this guy, the ball comes straight onto his head and he literally is a slab head. Maybe, that's it. Maybe there's a zip at the back of his head and really he's not human, and there's just a giant slab head underneath there, because I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. He just can't score.
He closes his eyes and just charges at the ball.
Yeah, but like, there should be some sort of sense of direction, even still. Like, nobody wants to keep their eyes open when the ball's coming, but the moments leading up to the header and the moments just after the header, most players' eyes are closed. But like, he's just, I don't know, he's too basic, man. He's always either hitting it straight at the keeper or off target, and it's like, mate, at least one of them needs to go in. Like, the fact is, he hasn't scored any of them, and that's the problem.
He scored one.
Yeah, he scored one last season.
Against Chelsea last season,
He won. But like, in the last 3 months,
not worth
it. Dead. So I just, what did you think of him, Claire?
Maguire is very average, nothing special. Simple as that. Maguire just existed a little bit, and compared to Bailly, he just had a very poor game, and it wasn't worth the 80 million for sure. You should be able to see that against a championship side. You're not though. So just a 6. Nothing good, nothing terrible.
Ollie's loyal.
Hmm.
And Reta, you're also giving him a 6.
Yeah. Lolly loves him.
Yeah, it's old school, man. He's your captain. You can't go against your captain. That's just old school. You know what I mean? Anyways, Williams out of 10.
Yeah, he looked like he looked energetic as always, but he's done. Okay, defensively it wasn't bad because Luton wasn't that great, but offensively he was dead. So yeah, 6. Nothing much to say.
He's too uncomfortable, man. He's too one-dimensional on that left-hand side. He can't do anything innovative going forward because it's so predictable. If you're watching tapes of Brandon Williams before a game, you pretty much know what he's trying to do every time. You know? Like I genuinely think so. It's the same thing. You must watch Williams. He always puts himself in a corner because he's trying to get it onto his stronger foot. And that extra bit of those extra seconds leading up to that decision and that hesitation leads to a mistake. He's always making a mistake doing the same thing. But anyways, what did you think of him, Clay?
I think he's just very hot and cold tonight. He had moments of looking pretty decent, running down the wings, linking up a little bit, putting in some good tackles, but at the same time, he made a lot of mistakes. He let the ball go loose a lot of times, misplaced passes. So it's a very just nothing good coming out of it overall again. And I don't like that that's a theme with these ratings so far. That's just nothing spectacular in a lot of our players so far. Nothing that screams Man United worthy. We're going up against a championship side. We should be dominating. And I can't get over that. It's just very average again, which should not be the case in games like this. Because what are you going to do against Chelsea? What are you going to do against Liverpool? What are you going to do against City? It's not good enough. And he just gets an average 6 from me overall.
Oh, it's a thick coat of sugar to euphemize Brandon Williams' performance tonight.
Yeah.
The average, bang on average. Probably below average for some of you as well. But anyways,
yeah. Wouldn't be surprised.
The bag.
Sorry?
What did you think? Matic.
Brilliant. I thought he was great.
It's Ricky. Yeah. It's Ricky. I didn't know Ricky was back. That's an exciting. If you don't watch the United stand, I don't know what to tell you. Anyways, what do you think of him?
I don't know why he didn't play during the weekend. I think I guess maybe a bit of a niggle or something. But I thought he was great. You know, he's 6. He just sits there and takes care of any problems coming through and lets the other players express themselves. And he kept doing this thing where he kept veering to the left, which was very interesting and he was very productive there. And he had one shot, which I was actually excited about because a lot of people don't know this, that Mattis has a shot in him. He has a really good shot in him. And he hasn't shown it a lot last season. So I hope we see one of his wonder goals this season. But yeah.
Guys, I think with the African Ricky. If Ricky was younger and lived in Africa, this is him.
But yeah, I'm a huge fan of Mattis.
Yeah, I think people overlook how much control he gives that midfield. You know, as timid and shy as he looks, that's what a defensive midfielder is supposed to do. They're supposed to handle the defensive responsibilities. And I think, we'll get to Fred in a moment, but I think Fred should be playing more advanced, man. I don't think he's a DM like Matic. But anyways, what did you think of Matic, Clay?
I think he did everything perfectly for what he was supposed to do at the end of the day. He filled his role perfectly. He distributed the ball well. He won the ball back. He calmed everybody down. He held the ball when it was needed. He linked up play. He was very good for us at the end of the day, and he should have started against Crystal Palace for sure. There's no doubt in my mind that he should have been there to just hold our midfield together a lot more. He is exactly what we need the season going forward. And we need some reinforcement in that area as well, going forward throughout the next coming seasons, because Matic isn't going to be able to do this very soon. He's on his last legs at the end of the day. He's getting really old. And he's going to perform really well this season, considering what we need from him, and he's doing that perfectly. And so I think I'll give him a 7.5.
Yeah, you guys are going to laugh at me, but McTominay is going to learn from this guy. McTominay is going to learn from this guy. And McTominay is going to show all of you watching this bloody show why he's a better DM than Fred. I am telling you, McTominay, once he learns that role from Matic, I'm telling you, it's a behind-the-scenes project. It's a 3-year plan, because that's how long Matic's contract is. It's a 3-year plan, and Matic is actually not a DM, by the way. He's actually a coach. He's in training with McTominay. But his title is DM, just to be frank. Anyways.
Then McTominay
Carrick
starts
and
this weekend.
Matic.
Yeah, I hope McTominay works out. But anyways, I'm done living up his ass. VDB out of 10.
Oh, okay.
Van de Beek.
I felt like he could have been more involved. I felt like he didn't control the midfield as much as I expected. But maybe I was expecting too much from him. But I thought it was a decent showing. And Ollie was right. He does have a knack. Yeah, true. But he does have a knack of showing up at the right places within the box and being goal fit. But I wouldn't say anything amazing. Just a good performance. So I'm going to say 6.5.
I think Van de Beek showed a decent showing of himself. We saw a lot better against Crystal Palace, I think, at the end of the day. Van de Beek, I feel like he tried to assist too much. Like, if that's a bad trait in a way, he tried to put the ball to a teammate to put in the back of the net a lot. He was in that box a lot, trying to do those little 1-2s to just push the ball into the back of the net, just a little tap.
Trying to be Bruno.
Yeah, he was very much trying to orchestrate that perfect little touch over to just any of our front three, just to put it away. And there's one too many passes. I feel like he could have taken a shot a few times, or even just pass it back at the end of the day. It's not exactly a bad trait.
I think in a decent team, it's not. Yeah, in a decent team, I don't think that's a bad thing. You know, if Lingard and Mata could actually shoot the ball, you know. But anyways, I get what you're saying though.
Yeah, Mata was our strongest force going forward at the end of the day. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, I don't want to say maybe he was overthinking it, because I feel like maybe he's a more experienced player than that. But maybe he was trying to fill the Bruno role too much. When he, as much as he assists, he's a goal threat from the 10 position. He needs to stick to doing that and getting in the right areas within the box.
Yeah, I don't know. I think whatever way you look at it, the point is Bruno didn't play tonight, Van de Beek did. And what Ollie wants to do clearly is replicate the system as much as possible, just with a different team in it, right? So I've got absolutely no problem with him playing that way if he's going to be playing in the second team going forward. The only problem is, how do we then get the team around him to cooperate? Because at the end of the day, even if Van de Beek does what you guys are saying and tries to simplify his game, if he becomes a goal threat, then teams are just going to mark him out the park, and we're back to square one, like we were. Well, I mean, we never really were there with Bruno, but I felt like we were going to get there with Bruno before COVID, when Pogba was still injured, etc.
Yeah, we were there with Pogba last season, and the season before that as well. We were very much there. Pogba was marked out of the park because he was all we had, and the same could definitely be said going forward with Van de Beek now.
So, I think him filling the Bruno role when he's got Fred next to him is not such a bad thing, but I do get what you guys are saying. You know, it's all about opinion.
I'm not saying he can't be a 10, just he's a different type of 10.
Yeah, that's true. So you're saying his strengths and weaknesses don't necessarily suit the same of Bruno, so you should stick to what he's what he's good at, or what you think he's good at.
Yeah.
No, that's okay. That's okay. What are you giving him out of 10 then?
Yeah, I think a 6.5 is very fair. Nothing too good.
6.5. Interesting. Fred, out of 10. A lot of people think he had a good game today.
He looked comfortable. I think when he's alone in the 6 and he's the only defensive player, it's a bit of a struggle, because if he attacks too much, he's leaving us vulnerable. And then if he has to stick there and do the defensive work alone, he's not very good at that. He's not amazing at it. But with Matic next to him, box to box, he's really good. He was good going offensively, and times he come and help Matic. And I think they ran the midfield. So I think he also deserves a 7.
Yeah, fair enough. What are you giving him, Claire?
I think Fred was pretty good. I think a lot of the time he got a bit caught away with what he can do and what he can't do. And I think that led to a few mistakes, him getting a little bit too cocky, I guess. I don't know if there's a better word, but he was definitely a bit overconfident at times. He tried to pull a Ronaldinho a few times, trying to do these fantastic touches off the side of the boot to try shift the play. It was a bit much at times. And sometimes you just need that to be simplified. But overall, I do think he had a good game. I do think he fulfilled that box-to-box role very well. I think him next to Matic is the same kind of thing that we'd expect with Pogba next to him. He does a lot of going forward. He tries to dictate play a lot. He's trying to fill that Pogba role at the end of the day, which is very hard to do with the standard of player that Pogba is. But he did a solid role. He definitely did a good job overall. And I'll agree with the 7.
Yeah, and just talking about Fred there, but I think that's, definitely could use some simplifying, but that's a sign of a player who's enjoying his football and is in
Yeah,
a good place
definitely.
mentally with his game, I love the fact that, all these foreign players at United, uh, talking specifically about Fred, Bruno, Van de Beek, Pogba, even when they're in a bad headspace, you never see them get timid and shy. They always try and impose their personalities on the game.
Yeah.
And that's something I really miss from Ander Herrera. And I think a lot of it shows in Fred, a lot of it shows in Bruno. I loved Herrera because of his tenacity. Even when he wasn't playing particularly well, he was always very energetic and he looked like he cared about the team. And this is what we were saying 6 to 8 months ago.
Yeah.
If you a long-time viewer on the podcast, you'll know I was always a big fan, in those dark times when we were losing like 2-0 to Burnley. I was always a big fan of Fred because it looked like he gave the shit, Him, Williams, and a few other players looked like they actually cared. So I like
I
that
feel
about
like
Fred. But yeah,
I feel like if McTominay can improve his defensive side, I think we have a good thing going. I think we'll have two players in every position because McTominay will come in for Matic, and if he's good defensively, he can do what Matic does. I think we're seeing if Fred can develop this box to box thing, and he's a bit more defensive than let's say Pogba.
Yeah.
He can come on for Pogba, and we have a 10 in Van de Beek, so that could be.
we also have Messi.
Yes. That's progress from a team that was playing with Lingard and Pereira a couple of months.
Yeah, some people, I heard someone call him the Scottish Roy Keane. I'm not that far up his ass, I can't see what he ate for breakfast. But he does have the passion of a Scottish Roy Keane, and if he adds his defensive abilities as well as his tenacity going forward, you know what? Anything's possible. Anything's possible. I think he does. There is a leader in that player. So if there is a Roy Keane in this team, I think it's going to be him. As close as possible as you can get to Roy Keane in the modern day, anyways. Hopefully he doesn't go on throwing balls at Newcastle players and getting himself sent off when you're like 3-1 down.
Yeah.
But anyways, Lingard out of 10. What did you think of him?
Gents, I think we need to tell Spurs to shove that checkbook. They must shove that checkbook. Like, who was that player? That was Lingard. Honestly, I thought he had a really, really good game. I think pressing wise, he's always been good at that. But there was, I guess, motivation as well. I guess motivation. First game of the season, he wants to prove a point. But there was just this decisiveness about him because usually he'll get the ball, but in terms of distributing and being a 10, he's not very good at that. But today he get the ball and release it and make a very productive pass. He was running at defenders, and I really enjoyed watching him. So my man of the match, 7.5.
Stop it! You're making Shawnee cringe if he's watching the show. What do you think?
I think Lingard definitely did have a good showing at the end of the day. He was just a lot better than I could ever imagine Jesse Lingard being at the end of the day. He did show a lot of why Ole's kept him in this team. He showed a lot of promise. He showed why he's a youth prospect to United fans. He very much showed. Yeah, he's got a long way to progress, guys. Don't worry. He'll make it. He'll make it.
Like that. I mean, I know it's a championship side, but you got to understand he's 14. That's why he wears the number 14. It's amazing.
He was fantastic showing from the 14. Very bright future coming ahead for Jesse Lingard. At the end of the day, if we can bring that player out a lot more, we're gonna be in a lot better situations going forward, especially with our second team. And when we need the rotation on our first team as well, you could potentially break in there. I don't know if we're gonna straight away go, okay, we need to bench someone and bring Lingard in now. I think he's a good rotation.
I understand. Obviously, Greenwood can play
starts.
ahead of.
I'm sorry,
Greeny starts. But in that game against Crystal Palace, Lingard should have started if it wasn't Greenwood. That's what I'm saying. James should not be started.
I know it's one game, but if you can play like that more often, I want that player in my team.
He showed that last season as well. At the end of it, when he actually played again, he did show that he's got that faith in him again, that he's going to go out and he's going to go work for that shirt instead of just putting it on and looking very timid and just failing to pass a good ball, just skying every shot that he makes. Tonight he looked solid. He actually somewhat placed shots. They were a little bit skied, a little bit, which is a lot more progress at the end of the day. He's getting there. and that's a good sign at the end of the day. But I don't know if we should straight up go, well, he's our player, get out of here, Spurs, because 30 million for Lingard, oh my, I would think I would still take that, even if he's performing like that.
The thing is, hold on.
Yeah.
Listen, here's the negative, here's the downside to selling
Yeah.
Lingard. If we sell Lingard, Pereira
We
plays
need to
tonight.
buy, let me just say
Yeah,
we need to buy
and
something
we
with
won't.
that money.
And we won't.
If that
And we
money
won't.
just
That's
sits
the
there,
problem.
that's a terrible idea, yes. Yeah.
And if we
We
do
sell
buy, we're
Lingard.
going to buy like
Pereira.
a left back or something, and we won't
That's the-
directly replace him.
That's
Yeah.
the problem. And that's why I don't want
That is the
Lingard to go.
problem
I
at
want
the end of the
Pereira to leave first, or Mata to leave first before Lingard, because although I don't like Lingard that much as a player, obviously as a person, I think he's awesome. I don't know, I feel like he's better than Pereira, and he's got a little bit more fitness and legs than Mata, anyways. Yeah. Plus he's got the celebration as well. But anyways, I'm sorry, I really love that celebration. Igalo, awful game from him tonight, probably.
Or the man I was defending, just in the preview.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you see, like, can I just say, sorry for interrupting you, and this is probably very rude, but he's not the kind of striker to play in this team. Like, we don't cross the ball that much typically. We
That's
don't
the problem.
play
That's the problem.
as if he's a typical number 9. So for me, Igalo makes no sense. I get a lot of people saying that he offers us different dimension and stuff like that. And yeah, in a one-off game against Chelsea where we're 1-0 down in the 90th minute and Rashford hits a through ball and Igalo just happens to be in the chicken box, yeah, it works. But as a consistent game plan and an integral part of our system, especially if he's going to be playing in cup games, I don't really see where someone like Odion Igalo fits in, and it's got nothing to do with the player specifically. It's all strikers who fit that mold and aren't Harry Kane. You know what I mean? Like, he's just not complete enough for me. I know you talk about his hold-up play and everything, but I don't know. I didn't see it tonight.
I didn't see it tonight.
It's the modern football. I feel like nowadays we don't see a coach or a team we're playing a certain way, but when our big striker comes on, we're not playing the way we're crossing balls now. And I don't think Oliver would ever do that. We'll still play on the floor, quick football, and it doesn't suit him. And he has other qualities, but as you say, we didn't see anything today. I thought.
Yeah. I think him and Bruno pretty well, but like when Bruno's not there, he can't get anything. Because at least with Bruno will try to give him the ball a lot. But I don't know when Bruno's not there, because the last game I recall Igalo playing exceptionally well and actually scoring what some might call a world-class goal was against Lask before this whole COVID nonsense started. And it was a link up between him and Bruno. And a lot of people were, up Igalo's ass that time, looking, oh, look at how good he is. Don't tell me it's just less. Look at how good he is. And I was just like, relax. Yeah. Bruno basically gave it to him on the platter. But I don't know. I don't know about Igalo.
Yeah, positioning wasn't great. The hold-up wasn't there. Yeah. To be honest, he was still liability today. So I'm going to give him a 5.
5?
That's even generous.
Yeah.
I feel Igalo couldn't get stuck in tonight, in all honesty. I feel like there were a lot of times where he wanted the ball and just no one was there to give it to him. Sometimes he made runs across the defenders to try get that through ball through. But it's clear that we don't want to play that way. We want to play through the wings. We want to work our way through the box and then finish. We don't want to just route one straight to the striker, back of the net. We're not trying to do that. And that's just the style he suits at the end of the day. So it's not exactly a bad thing on his part. It just doesn't work in our current system.
Yeah.
So I think Igalo didn't really do anything this game. He played a couple passes, but that was about it. Did he even have a shot, guys? Do you know? Do you remember any shots?
I don't remember a shot.
I don't remember a shot from him. Yeah. But that's the thing. It's the synergy. It's the lack of synergy between him and the teammates, and the fact that he doesn't. The fact that he doesn't fit into our system. Like, there's just no chemistry because he doesn't really play that often, especially not next to Mata and Lingard, anyways. But what are you giving him out of 10 then?
I think it's a bit harsh to go 5, but I would go 5.5, a little bit below average. But he just didn't get in the game, and it's harsh to just say he was a liability if he just didn't do anything. Yeah. So just a 5.5.
Yeah. Final player on the field. Juan Mata, a bit of a polarizing player again, because I heard you say that he actually played well earlier. I know my opinion is slightly contrasting, only slightly. And then I know there's other people out there who think he played terribly. So what do you think?
Wait, did I say he played well?
No, I mean Clay. Sorry, but you can go first.
Okay. Sorry, I'm usually the meta man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. You might have said Clay Wallace, actually. But anyway.
Look, he scored a penalty, which is always great. And yeah, he was.
It's never a great way to start off. He scored a penalty. Amazing.
Manchester United, boys.
And I feel like he was linking up well with Lingard, but there was the right hand side was just neglected, and I felt like that was a problem because we had no width and we had no threat that side because one mistake assist, one mistake. So I didn't like it. I feel like I've always liked Mata and I know what he offers, but in terms of the system we're playing, I felt like we needed someone there on the wing. It didn't help us in terms of getting behind the what's the call again? Luton's defense. So decent game. I'm gonna give him a 6.5.
I mean, I think Mata really comes to life when he's got Bruno behind him and Martial in front of him. That's really when I think Mata's still a decent player. But beyond that, my opinions of Mata, it's not to do with his skill, it's not to do with his talent. He's one of my favorite players at the club as a person, and I love his career. I loved him at Chelsea, but it's time, mate. It's time. I often refer to him as the father figure of the club because that's what he is. That's what he is. What do you think of him, Clay?
I think he was pretty decent tonight. I don't have many complaints. I think he played as well as he could. He was the primary attacking outlet for us at the end of the day. Van der Beek laid off a few balls to him. He got a few shots off. Didn't make the keeper work as much as I think I would have liked, but it was still very good opportunities that he did have and should have put away. And of course, he put away the pen at the end of the day, which gave us our 1-0 advantage up until our super subs. So I think he gets a 7 from me.
Boy, oh boy, if we had won that game 1-0. The memes on social media, the memes. And if we had lost that game,
if we had lost the game. Oh my gosh.
Luckily we were not here talking about that. I think that about wraps it up. Unless you guys want to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a rating, if that's something you're interested in, is there any you could have done differently today?
Nah, I think he did everything right. Maybe one can say he shouldn't have brought in the 3 starlets that late. And they should have gone.
Guys, if there's anyone at home who's on that train, guys, he brought them on for 10 minutes to get them game time and get them ready for the weekend. 10 minutes is not the end of the performance that much. 10 minutes is not the reason they get smashed this week against Brighton. Come on.
Not. If you're fishing, you could say more minutes under the belt could have been great. But in terms of those 3, I thought it was really nice that they came on and just showed that quality.
Yeah.
For the haters, they saw that there's a difference between our second team and the first team, and I think
there's a massive difference.
And I think they came on and made magic. So I really enjoyed watching that style, and I enjoyed seeing Rashford score a goal.
Yeah. And
what very excited about Rashford scoring.
What did you think?
I think
there's nothing else to say, unless you'd be nitpicky about Ollie.
Yeah, I think Ollie is just, he did what he does best. He just stuck to what he knows, and it somewhat paid off at the end of the day. And just a slight sidetrack. Shawnee just wanted to make sure everybody knows that he gives Greedy that 10 out of 10.
Oh my gosh.
Oh God. Shawnee, you better hit the like button. I will not have your preload comments on the video that are not in the form of actual comments that will help the channel grow. And I will not have you feeding messages to the cast when you're not really.
But guys, can you blame him? He's the father. He's proud of his son.
That's true.
Subs
I don't know.
Beautifully, boys.
The son in your nephew, you got to teach them better. You got to teach them better with them COVID rules, fam. But anyways, if you are a member of this society and you are not here to use up the world's oxygen, and you are not here to just excrete carbon dioxide into the atmosphere as well as methane and damage our ozone layer, and you genuinely want to help the growth of this planet, please leave a like button. Hit the like button, and please do subscribe if you're new to the channel. Otherwise, now that we're done here, I think have a good day / evening whenever you listen to this. And it's been your boy Triple M, and we'll check you in the next one. Peace out. Yeah.